좋아. 가자. Yeah, let's go. I'm down. Let's go. Here, yeah is a little bit unclear. 완전 좋아. I've seen like, yeah, so good, very good. But here, a casual, kind of slang phrase to use in this case is I'm down. I'm down. 이렇게 쓰면은 진짜 native처럼 들립니다. I'm down. Let's go. Let's talk about the difference between up for, down for, and in. Actually, all of these phrases can be used pretty similarly, except in some situations. Now, these are the situations we can use these phrases in. Number 1, showing interest in something. I'm up for trying that out. Or agreeing. Do you want to go watch a movie? Sure, I'm down for that. Next, confirming a plan. We're going to Jeju Island this weekend. Are you going? Yeah, I'm in. But these are the situations we cannot use them in. We're all going to Busan this weekend. I'm up for it. No. Instead, you have to say, I'm down for that. I'm in. Now, I'm up for it means you're thinking about it or considering it, not committing. So here, I'm down for that or I'm in 도 잘 어울립니다. I'm down for that. I'm in. Next, your boss says, we're launching a new project next week. Are you down for it? Ding, ding, ding. Instead, are you in? Here, are you down for it? 왜 틀렸을까요? Here, down for it is a very informal expression, so we do not want to use this at work. Instead, are you in, which is neutral and can be used formally, is a better expression to use here. Are you in? Next, want to try skydiving? I'm in, ding, ding, ding. Instead, I'm up for it. In our first sentence, we didn't use I'm up for it because we weren't committing. Instead, we're considering, right? In this situation, we're just considering. Hey, want to try skydiving? Sure, I'm up for it. Did we make a plan? No, we're just considering. Well, sounds like fun. So, I'm in is yes, I will do it. I'm in. I'm going. I'm up for it is maybe, sounds like fun. I'm up for it. And I'm down for is our most informal expression, so this has to be used only with friends or people that you're close to. Awesome! Now, grammar bonus. Woohoo! Up for or down for is usually used with a noun or verb ing. And in is usually used by itself or with be. Now, let me give you an example. I'm down for going to the movies. I'm up for going to the movies. Here we have the ing, right? But can we say, I'm in for going to the movies? No. I'm in, we just say, I'm in. Sure, why not? I'm in. Can you notice how our intonation rises on up and goes down on down? I'm down for going to the movies. I'm up for going to the movies. I'm in. 혹시 카페인 두통일 수도 있지 않을까요? 오늘 커피 마셨어? 라고 남편이 물었다. 오늘 커피 마셨어? How can we ask this? Could it be a caffeine headache? Did you drink coffee today? He asked. Now, did you drink coffee today? 이거는 어색해요. 왜? 이거는 it's not about grammar. Technically, the grammar is right. This is simple past tense. But if we ask this, it sounds like the day is over. It's done. 근데 지금은 the day is not over, probably around lunchtime or maybe early afternoon. So this phrase doesn't really match. Instead, we're going to use have PP. Could it be a caffeine headache? Have you had any coffee yet today? He asked. Instead of did you drink coffee today? Using have PP for have you had any coffee today sounds much more natural for this situation, and it also connects it to right now. So have you had any coffee yet today? 오늘은 여태까지 지금까지 커피 먹었어요? 이런 게 훨씬 더 잘 쓸 수 있습니다. Have you had any coffee yet today? Could it be a caffeine headache? Have you had any coffee yet today? He asked. 바로 그거였다. 당신 말이 맞아. 아직 커피를 한 잔도 안 마셨어. 나는 깨달았다. That was it. You're right. I didn't drink any coffee yet, I realized. Now, I just said I didn't drink any coffee yet. 이거 simple past tense 어색하다고 얘기했잖아요. 그러면 여기는 어떻게 얘기해요? I haven't had any coffee yet. That was it. You're right. I haven't had any coffee yet, I realized. So, instead of simple past tense, we can just use have pp. 그리고 using yet with simple past tense is very awkward and doesn't match because like I said, it sounds like the day is over. So using this yet is not a good combination, so don't ever use yet with simple past tense. That was it. You're right. I haven't had any coffee yet, I realized. 그가 초콜릿을 좋아하는 것도 아니고 간식만 주기엔 부족할 것 같았다. He doesn't like chocolate and only giving snacks didn't feel enough. Versus, he's not into chocolate and snacks alone wouldn't be enough. He doesn't like chocolate 문제 없지만 약간 direct한 표현이에요. I don't like that. 약간 그냥 난 그거 싫어. It's a little bit strong. Instead, we can say he's not into chocolate. 이거 약간 푹신푹신한 soft for casual speaking. He's not into chocolate. I'm not really into that. Can we do something else? Versus, I don't like that. Can you feel the difference? And here, only giving snacks is fine. But if you want to make it shorter and more compact, you can say snacks alone. Using alone like this is actually pretty common. Another example is money alone can't buy happiness. Now, instead, didn't feel enough. 이거 약간 어색한 조합이에요. 이렇게 하는 거 말고 wouldn't be enough. Now, here's wouldn't and here's didn't. Didn't is in the past, but we use wouldn't about something that is happening in the future or some kind of 상상의 future scenario. 그럼 이 상황에서 I'm going to buy a present for my husband that he will get in the future, right? 그럼 이런 상황에 wouldn't도 잘 올리고 여기서 쓰셔야 됩니다. Now, let's go one more time. He's not into chocolate and snacks alone wouldn't be enough. Great. Number 8. 하지만 집에 도착해서 다시 입어보자마자 끈 하나가 끊어졌다. 아이고, 어떡하지? But I arrived home and as soon as I wore it, one strap was broken. Now here, 도착하면은 돌리는 단어가 뭐예요? Arrive. Korean learners will always say arrive because they study 단어, word, 도착하다, arrive. 근데 여기는 arrive보다는 더 자연스러운 거 있어요. Here, but as soon as I got home and tried it on again, one of the straps broke. 얼마나 슬플까요? Here, but I arrived home. 제가 얘기했던 것처럼, but as soon as I got home. So, as soon as I got home and tried it on again. Here we have wear past tense, which is wore, and here we have try it on. 이거 어떻게 다를까요? Wear and try it on both are phrases that go with 입다. But wear is 뭔가 입고 있는 상태. I'm wearing a red shirt. But try on is 입어보다. 그럼 입어보다는 어디에 잘 쓸까요? If you go to a store, you have to try it on and then take it off. If you go home and you bought something, you want to try it on and take it off. 그럼 이럴 때는 try on. I tried it on. Hey, go try this on. Okay, Mom, I'll go try it on. Okay? But wear, the dress she's wearing is really pretty. So, and tried it on again, one of the straps broke. 한국인들은 you like to use 수동태 or was broken in this kind of situation. Because in Korean, 한국말 보시면 약간 하나가 끊어졌다. 수동태는 맞을 것 같은 느낌이 들어가지고 was broken 많이 나와요. But Here, if I say was broken, what does that mean? It was already broken. That means when we took it out of the bag, it's already broken. But here, we're talking about 입어봤을 때 그너졌다. 그러면은 was broken 말고 그냥 broke로 써야 돼요. For example, 내 팔이 부러졌다. How can I say it in English? My arm was broken. 많이 얘기할 텐데 이거는 아니에요. If you say my arm was broken, it means somebody else came up to me and broke my arm. 아주 무섭죠? 근데 instead we say my arm broke or I broke my arm. What happened to you? I broke my arm. 그냥 simple, broke. 너무 많이 생각하지 말고 just broke. But as soon as I got home and tried it on again, one of the straps broke. We planned to make it together when she visited over my birthday weekend. Remember we compared on and over here? Over means over the whole period instead of on just one day. Over refers to something that happens gradually, repeatedly, or throughout an extended period of time. That means that it's happening the whole time. This is followed by a noun that usually says a duration. Over my birthday weekend. Over the holidays. Often used for trends, changes in growth or improvement, or continuous repeated actions. Let's look at some examples. The company grew rapidly over time. This is talking about the gradual process of growing. Here we're talking about rapidly. So growing over time. We talked about everything over dinner. 그럼 저녁 먹었을 때 그 시간에 we talked about everything. 그런 얘기 쭉 했어요. Now, during refers to something that happens with a specific time period or event. So, during is usually followed by a noun. During a meeting. We wouldn't say during eating. Instead, during a meeting. During class. It doesn't mean the action lasted the whole time. It just says it happened somewhere inside that time. For example, she cried during the movie. If we say she cried over the movie, it sounds really strange because it means the whole movie she was 그럴 수 없잖아요. Then we have to say she cried during the movie. I met a lot of people during my trip. This is saying I met someone here, I met someone here, I met someone here, but I wasn't meeting new people the whole time. So during 여기는 잘 맞아요. I met a lot of people during my trip. Now, let's have a quiz with over versus during. Number 1. I had a terrible headache during the meeting. It wasn't the whole time. It could have started a little bit after or maybe ended before the meeting was done. So, I had a terrible headache during the meeting. Number 2. My English has improved a lot the past few months. Here, we're talking about the past few months. What's happened with my English? 향상시켰죠? We're talking about this growth. So in this situation, instead of during, over. My English has improved a lot over the past few months. Number 3. It rained a lot during the weekend, so we stayed indoors. Now, this could be confusing because it says the weekend, but we stayed indoors. The weekend means the whole weekend, which is your clue. Here, over. It rained a lot over the weekend, so we stayed indoors. Next, he kept checking his phone during dinner. Now, 여기도 약간, you could get confused because it says kept, 계속. 근데 여기는 when you're looking at your phone, 계속 보지는 않잖아요. 뭐 보다가 check, 확인하고. 그럼 이거는 during이 더 잘 어울립니다. 왜냐면 if you say he kept checking his phone over dinner, it kind of means he's like 그러진 않을 거죠. 그래서 he kept checking his phone during dinner. Great! 뭐뭐 하는 건 어때? How about ing? Also compare this with what about ing? Now, how about ing, like I said before, is very common for suggesting something. It can be general or specific. Generally, we just use it for suggesting. But what about can be used for suggesting, but it's also we're adding information, an additional point, or reminding about something. So let's say we saw something in the near past, maybe online when we were looking, then in that case, since we saw it recently, using what about can sound a little bit more casual and conversational here. What about that restaurant that we saw yesterday? Do you want to try that? Here, we're reminding and also referencing something that we saw in the recent past. So, what about? But you can also say, how about eating tteokbokki tonight? How about that restaurant? This just makes it a little more of a general suggestion. Now, our example. 이번 주말에 영화 보러 가는 건 어때? How about going to the movies this weekend? What about watching that movie that we saw the preview for last night? 이번 토요일에 소풍 가는 건 어때? What about having a picnic this Saturday? Now, what about has a slightly more specific nuance, like I said. Maybe we're reminding of something, but we can also use it in the same context as how about, what about. So it really depends on that context and situation and the person speaking. So they're both okay. However, 약간 다른의 뉘앙스 있긴 있어요. What about having a picnic this Saturday? What about one of those bouquets that looks like flowers, but is actually made of money? Here, what about is always going to have a slight upward intonation because it's a suggestion. What about? What about? What about one of those bouquets? Bouquets. Here, this is actually, I believe, a French word originally, so the spelling is a little bit strange. It gets pronounced a bit strange as well, like bouquet, something like this, but we say bouquet, bouquet. One of those bouquets that looks like flowers, that looks like. Here, that looks like 보다는 that looks like. That looks like. Make sure your that is short and blended. That looks like. Here, flowers. Stress on the first syllable, flowers. With a natural pause after for contrast, because but is here. When we're contrasting something, we can add emphasis by using a pause. But is actually, we're also emphasizing this contrast by putting more stress on actually, especially the first syllable. But is actually, here, don't say but is actually, but is, but is. But is actually made of money, made of money. Upward intonation because of our question. What about one of those bouquets that looks like flowers, but is actually made of money? After a quick trip to the store, I got started on my secret recipe. Let's talk about get started on. Now, this means 만들기 시작했다. We're going to compare get started on, start, begin, and kick off. Get started on means to begin working on something, and it's often used when you're preparing or diving into a task. We use it when it's kind of a big task that's going to need some effort because, okay, let's get started on this. Very action-based. For example, I need to get started on my homework. It's going to be hard. Now, next, start. Start is the most common and general word for beginning something. This 뭔가 감정이 없는데 very good in both casual and formal, or if you're describing something or just being direct. Start. Let's start the meeting now. Okay, everyone, let's start the meeting now. Begin is slightly more formal. This is often used in writing or in official contexts. Something like, the movie will begin at 7 p.m. This is an official announcement. Or, the meeting will begin in 15 minutes. Please make sure you're ready. You would hear this in an office environment. Now, kick off. This means to officially or energetically start something. Often an event or program. So 뭔가 기분 좋게 시작하고 싶을 때 kick off. Let's kick it off. Now, let's work on a quiz with all of these. get started on. Start, begin, kick off. The CEO will ding the meeting with a short speech. Here, we can also have two answers. One would be begin if we want to go with a formal atmosphere. But let's say the CEO wants to start off with a positive, 뭔가 hot feeling, then kick off. The CEO will kick off the meeting with a short speech. 이거 훨씬 더 긍정적인 뉘앙스 나옵니다. The CEO will kick off the meeting with a short speech. Sounds much more fun. I usually ding my day with a cup of coffee. This is begin. Now, as I said, begin is a formal phrase, but begin is very commonly used with routines. So this is talking about my routine. I begin my day with a cup of coffee. So begin is the best phrase to use here. I usually begin my day with a cup of coffee. Let's ding painting the living room before it gets too dark. This is going to take a long time and it'll get dark. And if it gets dark, it'll be harder to do it. So let's get started on. We're starting a big project that's going to take time. So let's get started on painting the living room before it gets too dark. Then last, can we ding now? We're already 10 minutes late. Here, there's also two options. We can say start or begin. However, look at this second sentence. We're already 10 minutes late. If you're in a formal situation, somebody probably wouldn't say this. We're already 10 minutes late. This is almost complaining, and you wouldn't say this to your superiors. You'd just wait. So in this case, start is much better. It's just a direct, nuance 없는 word that we can use. Can we start now? We're already 10 minutes late. This is a very useful phrase when we're going to a cafe. 안녕하세요. 라떼 하나 주세요. 무지방 우유로 해주시고 거품은 많이 넣어주세요. 위에 시나몬도 조금 뿌려주세요. This is definitely going to happen if you go to the States and you're visiting someplace. You're going to need to explain what you want to drink in English, right? That's why we're going to teach you. Our 한국인 학습자들은 Hello, give me the latte but non-fat milk and put lots of foams and put cinnamon on it, please. And our native speakers, Hi, I'd like a latte with non-fat milk, extra foam, and a sprinkle of cinnamon on top, please. Let's talk about the differences. Here, I'd like and give me. 한국어로 하면은 주세요 하잖아요. 주세요. 주시겠어요. But when you translate this, it becomes give. 근데 이거로 give me 하면은 it's rude. It's too direct. 명령같이 들려요. You cannot say this. Instead, I'd like. I'd like. 뭔가 주문할 때 항상 I'd like. Good. I'd like a latte with. If you're ordering something in a cafe, always with. Not but, with. With non-fat milk. With soy milk. With. Good. Non-fat milk, extra foam. Now, here we have a spelling error. You might think like, Koreans won't make this kind of mistake, but I have seen this lots of times, especially because foam, it sounds like form. So this R often gets put in here. So this is saying, I'm just telling you guys, don't think that it's too easy for you. This kind of mistake happens a lot, and there's no problem with that. But if you make a mistake, then we have to fix it, right? So look at your mistakes, fix them, and then next time we can do it right. So the next one, and put cinnamon on it, please. 이것도 약간 명령스럽게 들려요. Put cinnamon on it, please. Put it on there. Instead, sprinkle. A sprinkle of cinnamon on top, please. 이거 요리할 때 잘 쓰는 표현. Put a sprinkle of salt in the soup. Maybe a mom would say to her husband or their son. A sprinkle of chocolate on top of the cupcake. Let's practice one more time. Hi, I'd like a latte with non-fat milk, extra foam, and a sprinkle of cinnamon on top, please. This is my drink. I really want to go to a cafe right now as we're talking about this. 다행히 일정이 밀리지는 않았지만 정말 아슬아슬했다. 아슬아슬. 우와, 이거 뭔가 재밌을 것 같지 않아요? Our Korean learners usually say, fortunately, the schedule was not delayed, but it was close. 여기 아슬아슬하면은 it was close도 되지만 약간 감정이 없어요. Instead, thankfully, we're not behind on anything, but it was a pretty close call. Close call is a great expression to use. 뭔가 와, 큰일 날 뻔, 이럴 때, 뭔가 무섭고 긴장될 때, that was a close call. Now, let's compare the two. Now, here we have fortunately and thankfully. They're both good phrases, but fortunately is used more commonly in written English and it's a little more formal. Also, thankfully처럼 따뜻한 느낌이 없어요. Thankfully feels warm and like happier compared to fortunately. Now, was not delayed. We talked about delayed in a previous day. Delayed means 뭔가 외부 이유 때문에 밀렸다는 거. But it's used in formal settings like flights, trains, schedules, things like this. This is talking about a project for work. So instead, 여기 밀리다, be behind on something, 훨씬 더 잘 쓰는 표현입니다. So we're not behind on anything, but it was a pretty close call. 와, 정말 큰일 날 뻔했어요. So one more time, shadowing. Thankfully, we're not behind on anything, but it was a pretty close call. 우리가 그 앵무새들을 좋아하는 만큼 그 앵무새들도 우리를 좋아해 주길 바랄 뿐이다. I hope the parrots like us as much as we like them. And our native speakers say, let's just hope the parrots like us as much as we're going to like them. 자, 여기는 I hope makes this sentence more self-centered, but since we're going together, we want to make this more of an inclusive phrase, saying, let's just hope is better. When you're with a group or with someone else, let's hope 조금 더 자연스럽게 잘 쓸 수 있습니다. So let's just hope the parrots like us as much as we're going to like them. 여기는 we used future, but here we didn't. Using this future is much better for this situation because you haven't met them yet. Let's just hope the parrots like us as much as we're going to like them. 교훈, 별로 안 매워 라고 말하는 사람을 절대 믿지 말 것. Our Korean learners. Lesson. Never believe a person who says it's not that spicy. 그리고 원어민들은 Lesson learned. Never trust someone who says it's not that spicy. 여기는 lesson 그대로 교훈 오면 대부분 그냥 lesson 나와요. 근데 우리는 이런 표현이 있어요. Lesson learned. Lesson learned. 뭔가 배웠을 때 재미있게 약간 라이트하게 얘기하고 싶으면 lesson learned. 근데 이거는 진지한 상황에서 절대 쓰면 안 됩니다. 예를 들면 you and your husband or your some friend got in a fight and you did something wrong. 그럼 절대 lesson learned 이렇게 쓰면 안 돼요. 왜냐면 너무 가볍게 들리니까 the other person could get angry about that. So instead 이럴 때는 I learned my lesson. Okay? I learned my lesson. 진지할 때 I learned my lesson. 근데 가벼울 때 lesson learned. 그리고 여기 believe, trust. 어떻게 다를까요? Believe is usually used for facts, opinions, information, something. Like, do you believe in ghosts? But trust is about a person, reliability, or being able to, rely on someone. Here, trust, because we're talking about a person, someone, 또 잘 어울립니다. So, lesson learned. Never trust someone who says, it's not that spicy. Now, let's talk about giving orders in English. First, we want to put the stressed verb first. For example, sit down, come here, get your gloves on, turn it off. Now, what about our intonation style? When you have a firm command, you're going to have falling intonation. For example, sit down, sit down. I use this tone when I'm trying to control my classroom and make them listen and sit down. Okay, everyone, sit down. Encouragement. This is a rise and fall. Do your homework. Rise and fall. But when we have more of a repeated rise and fall, we're making this playful and bouncy, even a teasing phrase. Get your gloves on and join us. It keeps going up and down, right? Then I know this is an order, but it's more of a playful, bouncy, very encouraging way to say it instead of get your gloves on. Get your gloves on and join us. Now let's practice with come on, let's do it. First, with a firm command. Come on, let's do it. Encouragement. Come on, let's do it. Playful and bouncy. Come on, let's do it. Great. Now, don't forget to link words. Even in orders, we need to make that sound natural. For example, put it on. Put it on. Put it on. Take it off. Take it off. Clean it up. Clean it up, Margot. Clean it up. Clean it up. It's a mess. However, be careful not to have soft or hesitant verbs. When we're doing any kind of order, playful, encouraging, or firm, we need to be confident about it. That's what makes it in order. So if you say, sit down, nobody is going to listen to you, okay? You need to be confident. Sit down. Sit down. Have no intonation or a flat tone. If we have a flat tone or robotic tone in an order, you sound sarcastic and it can be very offensive. Get your gloves on. Take it off. 뭔가 듣는 사람이 되게 불편할 거예요. Also, you have to be careful not to be too polite in casual settings. Like, please get your gloves on. You're not going to say that to your kids, right? It's giving them too much power. You need to have that confidence and ensure that I'm the one with the power in this situation. Get your gloves on, please. This is still encouraging, but confident and powerful enough to ensure that I'm the one telling you to do this. So you gotta listen to me.
그러면 미국에는 이런 뭔가 낮은 톤에 가진 사람이 별로 없어요?
아니 있는데 근데 약간 톤이랑
네.
body language 되게 중요해요. I mean, in America, naturally, like when someone's talking, intonation is really just part of the language. So if somebody just talks in a flat tone like that, it's not so much about their tone of voice, but rather it just sounds rude. Like, I'd like a coffee, please. It sounds like they don't care about. So I think intonation has just become such a big part of the language that even if someone has a low tone, they still have that intonation when they're ordering or doing something in a service situation. Well, you have a naturally low voice, so I think you don't have to worry too much as long as you're smiling. So like, if you're, I'd like a, then it's totally fine. I'd like a panini, please. You don't have to like, 굳이 like, I'd like a panini, please. 오히려 불자연스러울 있어요. 그 뭐 스마일링 하면서 얘기하면은 다 괜찮죠.
Let's hit the road. Do you remember what this was? 주월하자, 가자. Now, hit the road means to start a journey. It's a very casual phrase, especially when you're starting a road trip. This is something that you would say to your family or friends, but probably not to your coworkers. Let's hit the road. Next, head out. To leave a place to go somewhere. Now, this is our most general purpose phrase out of the ones we're going to study here. You can just say 뭐 가자, 출발하자. Let's head out. Let's go. Next, get going. This means 슬슬 나가다. Oh, to start moving, begin leaving, or doing something. We need to get going. And the last one, take off, to leave quickly. Oh, I need to take off. This is 급히 나가다. This is also very casual and it can be kind of rushed. So you need to be careful about using this in certain situations as well. For example, you wouldn't want to say, okay, I got to take off to your coworkers or your boss. So in that situation, head out would be a better option. Now, why don't you guys try and translate what you're going to say when you're leaving? 지금 출발해야 차 안 막히고 좋을 것 같아. 나 이제 갈게. 이따 봐. 저기 나 먼저 가야겠다. 내일 아침에 회의 있어서. 우리 슬슬 가야 제 시간에 도착할 수 있겠다. Try to say or write them down by yourself first before you listen to the answers. Now, let's go through it together. Hit the road. Head out. Get going. Take off. 지금 출발해야 차 안 막히고 좋을 것 같아. It's time to hit the road if we want to beat traffic. Here, we're talking about 차 안 막히고, so we know it's going to be a road trip, right? It's time to hit the road if we want to beat traffic. Let's go. Next, 나 이제 갈게. 이따 봐. We're going to use our most general phrase here. I'm going to head out now. See you later. Next, 저기 나 먼저 가야겠다. 내일 아침에 회의 있어서. 나 먼저 가야겠다. Then, what do we have to say? 급히 나갈 때? Hey, I gotta take off. Early meeting tomorrow. I gotta take off. 나 먼저 가야겠다. 시간 없어. Next, 우리 슬슬 가야 제 시간에 도착할 수 있겠다. 슬슬 가면은 무슨 표현이었어요? Get going. We should get going if we want to make it on time. We should really get going if we want to make it on time. Now, 몇 시간 하면은 a few hours 하는데 이거 정말 재미있는 포인트 하나 있습니다. A few versus few. In Korean, the definition of a few and few are a few, 몇 개, 약간은 있는 느낌. And few is 거의 없는, 부정적인 느낌. But actually, a few and few are the totally same amount. It's all about how you look at it. So a few means some, not many, but enough. However, a few is positive, 긍정적으로 보는 거예요. Few is some, same, but a very small amount and it's negative. 부정적으로 생각하는 거예요. So here, a few students came to class. If you put this in another way, it means some students came. Not many, but it's okay. We still had fun with the students that were there. However, if we use few students came to class. Almost nobody came. It's disappointing. 이거는 positive하게 들리고 이거는 negative하게 들립니다. So naturally, people start to think that few means less than a few because of the way it's being seen. I have a few friends. I have some friends, not many, but enough. It's positive, right? However, I have few friends. 이거 뭔가 I don't have many friends. It's pretty sad. 외로워. 이런 느낌이에요. In English, we have a phrase. Is the glass half full or half empty? We have this glass. Now, this is about optimism and pessimism. Optimism is thinking positively. This glass is half full. That means it's a positive thing. It's still half full of water. I can drink a lot. But a pessimistic person or a negative person will see this and say, 뭐지? It's half empty. There's not much left to drink. So just this difference in a few and few can show you how having a positive mindset or a negative mindset can affect not only the meaning of words, but also your quality of life. Is it half full or half empty? Here we're going to talk about figure versus think. Now, think is to believe or guess something now or in general. This is more in the moment about what we're thinking about doing. But figure is to come to a conclusion based on evidence or reasoning. This is more logical or analytical, talking about a decision that we made and why we made it. Let's look at some examples. So, we have to create different answers for each situation. Our first situation is, you texted a friend, but they didn't reply. What can we say? I think he's just busy right now. I figured he was busy since he didn't reply all day. This is what we're thinking right now. Oh, I think he just must be busy. But I figured is more describing what we already thought about in the thought process, what we decided based on those logical moments or logical thinking process that we already had. Next, you're deciding whether to eat out or stay at home. Here, I think I'll just cook something at home. 뭔가 그 순간에서 얘기하는 거잖아요. I think I'll just cook something at home. But I figured eating at home would be cheaper. Maybe your husband comes in and said, oh, I thought you said you wanted to go out to eat. Why are you making dinner? You could say, I figured eating at home would be cheaper. And last, you saw your coworker leave the office early. I think she had an appointment. Or, I figured she had an appointment because she left right after lunch. This we would say in the moment, but hey, do you know where she went? I figured she had an appointment because she left right after lunch. We're describing what conclusion we came up with after that situation. So here's your tip. For thinking, am I thinking right now? Then use think. For figure, did I already decide or guess something based on evidence? Then use figure. Think, figure. Now, we're talking about how to ask for something. I could really use, do you remember? I want a coffee 보다는 I could really use. 뭔가 we're asking for it. 부탁하는 거잖아요. So, I need. This is a very direct way to express something important or necessary. 뭔가 당장 필요해요. I could really use is a softer, more polite way to say you want or need something. And this implies that it would be helpful. 뭔가 도움이 될 거라는 뉘앙스 있어요. I wouldn't mind. This is polite and low pressure. 뭔가 I wouldn't mind. This is a way to express interest and desire, and it sounds very relaxed. Well, I wouldn't mind doing that. Why not? I could go for. This is a casual, idiomatic way to say you want something, especially food or rest. This is the most common for. Like, I could go for a coffee, or I could go for a break, something like this. And last, and the strongest phrase, is I'm dying for. I'm dying for a break, or I'm dying for some chocolate right now. I really want some chocolate, really. I'm dying for some chocolate. An exaggerated, very casual way to show a strong desire or craving. So you wouldn't really want to say this to your coworkers or someone like this. Instead, you would probably say this to maybe your friend or your significant other, and like, I'm dying for thing. And they might help you out after that. Now, let's look at some situations and see which one is the best phrase to use. Let's review first. I need. Direct. I need. I could use a little bit softer. I wouldn't mind. Very light, casual, relaxed. I wouldn't mind. I could go for. This is especially for food or a break, something like this. I'm dying for. Exaggerated, meaning I want it really bad. First situation, you've been working all day and you feel completely exhausted. 뭐가 맞을까요? 한번 먼저 해보세요. I'm dying for a break. I need some sleep. I'm exhausted. I'm dying for a break. I need some sleep. Next, you've been standing in line at the airport for hours. You feel tired and thirsty. Tired and thirsty. Here, I could use a cold drink and a place to sit. Put yourself in this situation. Standing at the airport, in line, you're thirsty and you're tired. I could use a cold drink and a place to sit. Now here, we can also say, I could go for a cold drink and a place to sit, But in the line, we're by ourselves, right? Nobody's with us. 약간 혼자 말을 하는 거잖아요. 혼자 말을 할 때 이거는 잘 어울리는 표현입니다. I could use a drink. I could use 땡땡. This is when we're talking to ourselves, more common than I could go for. I could go for is more common when we're talking to somebody else, asking for something. Next, you feel like you must respond to a work message immediately. Immediately, 당장 해야 되니까 뭐가 좋을까요? Need. I need to reply to that message right now. 당장 대답해야 돼. Immediately. I need. This is direct. Very strong. I need to reply to that message right now. Next situation. You're thinking about relaxing, but it's not a big deal. This is a very relaxed, I could do it, I could not do it. 이거 뭐가 좋을까요? I wouldn't mind putting my feet up for a bit. I wouldn't mind putting my feet up for a bit. Putting my feet up means relaxing. Hey, sit back, relax, put your feet up. Oh, thanks. I wouldn't mind putting my feet up for a bit. Why not? Next, you're walking on a hot day and suddenly crave bubble tea. Now here you're probably walking with someone else, a friend or your husband or wife or someone, and you say, oh, bubble tea. I could really go for a bubble tea right now. I could really go for a bubble tea right now. And then what does the person that you're with say? Okay, why not? Let's go.
It's a bit awkward here. Let's break the ice.
Good idea. I'm Sarah. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. What brings you here?
I'm just here to meet some new people.
It's a bit awkward here. Let's break the ice.
Let's look at some other well-used idioms. First, we have break the ice. You will probably have heard this as ice breaking. This is pretty common in Korea, but actually native speakers use the phrase break the ice more often. It's more natural. 뭔가 어색한 분위기 깨야 될 때. 그리고 under the weather. Here's a little cloud. And what's happening? It's raining. And where are you? You're here, under the weather. Then how do you feel? Sick, sad, and tired. That means 몸이 안 좋을 때 under the weather 잘 쓸 수 있는 표현입니다. 세 번째, piece of cake. Do you like cake? I like cake. Cake 먹는 거, is it easy or hard? It's easy. That's why piece of cake means, hey, this is easy. Actually, this phrase also exists in Korean. 식은 죽 먹기 is the same as piece of cake. Now, let's take a quiz. Number 1. That test was a thing. Here, a test can be easy or hard. So what's our answer? That test was a piece of cake. That test was a piece of cake. In the second one, he told a joke to 땡 at the party. When you're at a party, 분위기가 어색할 수 있죠? If you want to break that awkward atmosphere, what can you do? Break the ice. He told a joke to break the ice at the party. In the third one, I'm feeling a bit 땡 today, so I think I'll stay home. 뭔가 집에 있고 싶을 때, when do you do that? Oh, when you're not feeling good. So what's our answer here? I'm feeling a bit under the weather. Oh, boss, I'm feeling a bit under the weather today, so I think I'll stay home. When you have to call in sick, this is a very useful phrase to use. One more time. 분위기 어색할 때, break the ice. 몸이 안 좋을 때, under the weather. And 식은 죽 먹기, a piece of cake.
It's a bit awkward here. Let's break the ice.
Good idea. I'm Sarah. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. What brings you here?
I'm just here to meet some new people.
It's a bit awkward here. Let's break the ice.
Good idea. I'm Sarah. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. What brings you here?
I'm just here to meet some new people.
Number 10. 그래도 나쁘지는 않다. 진짜 모험이었으니까. But it wasn't bad because it was real adventure. Versus, but I can't complain. It really was an adventure. Here, it wasn't bad 문법적으로 괜찮지만 actually it sounds a little bit negative. Like, it wasn't bad. But here, I can't complain is a positive phrase. 뭔가 불평할 수 없었다. It's good. I can't complain. 만족스러울 때 쓰는 표현입니다. It was, 여기는 a real adventure 넣어야 됩니다. 안 넣으면 틀립니다. Because it was a real adventure sounds more like written English, though it's a little bit too formal. Instead, it really was an adventure. 훨씬 더 캐주얼하고 좋은 느낌으로 끝낼 수 있습니다. Because this is the last sentence in our story. But I can't complain. It really was an adventure. Whoa, you're completely soaked. What happened? It was supposed to be a light drizzle, not a full-on downpour. Here we're talking about rain, and there's several different types of words we can use to talk about rain. Drizzle is 뭔가 살짝 내리는 거, 스르르르르르르르 이런 느낌. Drizzle. Downpour is 샤, 퐁. Very strong rain. Drizzle, downpour. Classic weather app fails. Didn't you have an umbrella? When something often makes a mistake, like a weather app or something like this, we can say classic. Classic weather app fails. Didn't you have an umbrella? 우산 가져갔지 않아요? I did, but I saw a bunch of kids jumping in puddles and laughing like crazy. They didn't have a care in the world. I couldn't resist. I joined in. 뭔가 참을 수가 없었어. 나도 그냥 같이 놀아버렸다. No way. I guess you needed to let loose. 스트레스 좀 풀어서야 되는 것 같아. 스트레스를 풀다. Let loose. I did, and it was so freeing. 정말 마음대로 할 수 있으니까 와, 마음이 확 열렸어요. I'm soaked, but I can't complain. It was worth it. 그럴만한 가치가 있었어요. 너무 재밌었으니까. I can't complain. It was worth it. Now, let's act it out together. Whoa, you're completely soaked. What happened? It was supposed to be a light drizzle, not a full-on downpour. Classic weather app fails. Didn't you have an umbrella? I did, but I saw a bunch of kids jumping in puddles and laughing like crazy. They didn't have a care in the world. I couldn't resist. I joined in. No way! I guess you needed to let loose. I did, and it was so freeing. I'm soaked, but I can't complain. It was worth it. 나는 항상 어르신 세대의 이야기를 듣는 것을 좋아하는 편이라 그분과 대화를 나눠보고 싶었다. Our Korean learners say, I like listening to stories from the elderly generation, so I wanted to talk with him. Instead, we can just say, I've always had a soft spot for hearing stories from the older generation, so I was eager to strike up a conversation with him. I like listening to is correct, but if we want to give more of a warm nuance, 그 따뜻함이랑 뭐 casual conversation의 좋은 표현은 had a soft spot. Had a soft spot is a really great phrase for saying something that you like, or when you see it, your heart just gets kind of warm. And I have a soft spot for dogs and kids, so when I see them, I just automatically smile. So in this story, I talk about having a soft spot for hearing stories from the older generation, which is really true. They're really interesting, you know. So whenever I hear those, I'm very eager. Eager, 훨씬 더 약간 기대감 있고 하고 싶은 느낌이 있어요. want보다. 약간 want to talk with him 하면은 뭔가 문제 있는 것 같아요. 약간 나는 이 문제에 대해서 얘기하고 싶어. I want to talk with you about something. 뭔가 그 따뜻함이랑 기대되는 뉘앙스 없어요. Instead, eager to strike up a conversation. 뭔가 I want to start a conversation, strike up a conversation. This is a great phrase that shows I'm excited about it too. Like, I really want to strike up a conversation with that guy from the store across the street, but I haven't gotten the chance yet. 이럴 때도 잘 쓸 수 있습니다. I want to start a conversation in a casual, fun way. I've always had a soft spot for hearing stories from the older generation, so I was eager to strike up a conversation with him. Now let's talk about that and other similar expressions. First, have a soft spot for. We talked about this. It means to like someone or something in a sentimental, affectionate way, often without a logical reason. It could be like connected with our memories or something that we just really like. We don't have a particular reason for it. For example, she has a soft spot for her little brother, no matter what he does. We have another phrase like rose-colored glasses. Everything looks good about what they do because we have a soft spot for them. Next, be fond of. This is like to like something or someone gently or warmly. So this is the same as like, but it's much warmer, much more fond. Like is just 뭐 설명적, like. I like it. I'm fond of it. Much warmer, talking about memories, places that you've been before, or people, things like this. Often over time, it has that nuance of memories. He's always been fond of painting, even as a child. He really likes it. Next, be partial to. This is to have a personal preference for something slightly biased. Now, biased means I think this way, or I think that way. Now, I think my son is cute, of course. Why? Because he's my son. Everyone will think their baby is cute. But maybe other people might say, oh, he's cute. And I could say, I'm biased, but I agree. He's my son. I'm biased. I have that opinion already. Be partial to has that 느낌. You can also use this in kind of a playful, teasing way. For example, he's partial to late night snacks, even though he shouldn't be. We're describing him and we don't want to be too direct. If we say likes here, it kind of can be negative. He likes to eat late night snacks, even though he shouldn't. But partial to adds a little bit more of a formal but playful 느낌. He's partial to late night snacks. Now, let's act it out. You are talking about food at a dinner party. Use these 3 expressions to describe what you like. Number 1. I have a soft spot for my grandma's grilled cheese sandwiches. No matter how fancy the food is, nothing beats that taste. This is very true. My grandma's grilled cheese sandwiches are the best. I have a soft spot for them. Number 2, I've always been fond of Korean stews. They're so comforting, especially on cold days. Number 3, I'm partial to anything spicy. If it doesn't make my nose run, it's not spicy enough. This actually has one more interesting phrase. Make my nose run. 코를 도망가려고? 그거 아닌데. If you eat spicy food, what happens? 뭔가 흘리잖아요? You can say, if it doesn't make my nose run, that is nose running. So if you have a cold and you're like, you can say, oh, I have a runny nose. I have a runny nose. I'm partial to anything spicy. If it doesn't make my nose run, it's not spicy enough. Usually quickly or briefly, and this is neutral tone. So it can be formal and it can be informal. Now, I hear a lot of mistakes with favorite because it's a really common word that almost all English students know,